as part of Disney, this is part of the legacy of this studio. Walt, in a sense, invented the whole concept of, natural history filmmaking with the films he made between 1948 and 1960, True Life Adventures, which had an impact on me as well. I saw them on reruns of, Wonderful World of Disney when I was a kid. And I think, we're in our 15th year with Disney Nature, and what we've been able to do in terms of capturing true behavior of these incredible animals and telling stories that are so heartwarming and informative and educational. It just, I have a blast.
What does it mean to you to be here 15 years after Earth kind of started it all, and still being involved?
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I was involved with Earth, so I was there right at the very beginning. It's great. I'm so pleased that the sort of the brand has gone from sort of strength to strength, and that Disney is still making 75-minute nature films, because I do think that although they're not on the big screen anymore, which was obviously the original intention, just the very fact that they're 75 minutes long and we get to unfold a proper story, that much in itself is great, and there's really no one else doing that right now. So we're very grateful to Disney for giving us the chance to make these shows.
Ambar was our one tigress that we really fell in love with. And the fact that she had this amazing litter of four cubs who had personalities that you could recognize immediately after they were born, it really made the story kind of special.
Your role as a producer on a Disney nature film must be very different from your role on a Disney animated film. How would you compare the two?
Well, it's interesting because, from a story standpoint, and that's kind of my major involvement, we have a team that goes out into the field that does the actual filming. I'm not out there in the field, telling anyone what to do. I've got these amazing guys who are kind of the explorers of the 21st century out there capturing this phenomenal footage. And then we bring that footage in, and we have an idea of the kind of story we want to tell. But until that footage comes in, we don't know what that story is going to be. And with animation, you start with a blank piece of paper, literally, and you start creating a story. But somewhere, strangely, in the middle, they meet, and you start kind of shaping that final story that you're going to put out into the world. And it's, as a storyteller, I love both processes. They're both equally satisfying.
Tigers are extremely difficult. They're very secretive, and it's pretty hard to get exceptional material. But on the ground, we in wildlife kind of favor small crews for long periods of time. It's completely different to the Hollywood models where you have vast crews for tiny amounts of time because the talent's so expensive. Our talent is not very expensive, but it often doesn't turn up. So the only way we can afford to make it work is to have tiny crews, long periods. In this case, our crews were a combination of some fantastic Indian talent and some of the sort of absolutely best in class, Western talent from around the world. But there's usually sort of one or two tiny crews on location at any one time, and lots of Indian tiger experts and guides basically showing us where the tigers were, because without their help, incredibly difficult to find and follow.
Disney nature films have always kind of focused on motherhood or parenthood, kind of at their core. But coming off of the success of Queens, I think a lot of fans will view Tiger a little bit differently. What was that like for you, kind of juggling both these projects at the same time, knowing that there was some overlap in their narratives?
Well, they were wonderfully complementary, actually, because I think, really we've had very little insight into what tigers were like as mothers. We've just glimpsed them occasionally in the past because they're so difficult to film. But what the story that started to unfold with Amber was just how amazing she was as a mother. She's juggling probably one of the hardest mothering jobs that you can have, where you've got to hunt for four cubs and every other day at some points, and protect the cubs who are really vulnerable from attacks from python and other males, and train them to be A-grade hunters along the way. So, I mean, I think she had it about as hard as it gets in nature. So alongside the queens that we were featuring for that show, Tiger was actually demonstrating, I think, probably the ultimate motherhood challenge.
Yeah.
Very impressive female.
And I have to say, our big male tiger, Shankar, he does show a softer side. He's a modern male in the end.
Shankar hunts down sloth bear, which is very rare. And it's never been caught on film before. And the fact that we were able to share that, and then the fact that he actually presents that bear as a prize to Ambar was amazingly emotional. And it really gave us the entire ending of our film.
Yeah, very much the tiger version of Breakfast at Tiffany's. Uh, now, there's kind of a tradition going back to Born in China of a kind of behind the scenes film accompanying the main feature. And in this case, Tigers on the Rise sort of takes a bit of a departure. It's less about making Tiger and more about the conservation piece.
We started talking about that very early because one of the things that I think is truly impressive and inspirational about what India, the communities in India, and individuals in India have done is brought the tiger population back. 20 years ago, there was about 1,400 tigers in the country. Now they're over about 3,600. It's more than doubled.
Which is all down to Indian people. So we wanted to feature all those people from sort of grassroots level to government level who have really turned around the story of this animal. And, you know, we feel that we've got a nice connection from our Indian crew who were helping support us on the main film, but also were very connected to the characters that you meet in the Tigers on the Rise show.
Tigers on the Rise is a testament to what we can do as individuals and as a community to save our animal populations.